there's actually quite a few licks in there. So the first thing that he does, that's the 8th fret on the 2nd string over to the 8th fret on the 1st string, and then sliding into 13, hitting the 13, back to 11, this is all on the 2nd string, back to 13, back to 11, back to 13, and then finishing on the 11 on the 1st string. So that's the initial statement, and then that's a slide into the 8 from around the 6th fret. Doesn't really matter if it's a... So yeah, sliding into 8 with the 1st finger, and then the 11 on the 2nd string, and then 10 on the 3rd string, bend up a full step. And then that, after you bend that note, you release it back to 10, and he plays 10, 8, 10, sorry, over to 8 on the 2nd string, back to 10 on the 3rd string, back to 8 on the 3rd string. Then he launches into this ascending run, sliding into 10 on the 5th string with my 3rd finger, and then I'm going to go 8, 9, 10 on the 4th, 8, 9, 10 on the 3rd string, 8, 9, 10 on the 2nd string, and then I'll slide into 10 on the 1st string, 11 on the 2nd string, and then 8 on the 1st string. So that's what I'm thinking of. All of that is lick 1. Here it is again. Okay, lick 2 is this phrase, a little bit later in the solo. So out of the C blues or minor pentatonic position at the 8th fret, he just bends the 11 up a whole step on the 2nd string, and then plays the 8 on the 1st string, back to 11 on the 2nd string, pull off to 8 on the 2nd string, over to 11 on the 3rd string, the flattened 5th, back to 8 on the 2nd string, so that little phrase. Kind of a classic Bloomfield idea, that pull off and then the flattened 5th back to the perfect 5th. And then he does it again, similar, just bends a 10 into that flattened 5th, so 10 just with a semitone or a 1 fret bend, over to 8 on the 2nd string, 8 on the 1st string, and then 11 on the 2nd string, back to 8, back to 11, back over to 8 on the 1st string. Then he comes up to this little rake. And that's really like an E flat major, or you could think of it as a C minor 7 inversion. He's playing the 13th fret of the 4th string, 12th fret on the 3rd, 11th fret on the 2nd and the 1st string. So like a little E flat major chord. And he just rakes with a downstroke with the pick across those notes. And then bends the 13. 13 on the 2nd string, bend up a full step, over to 11 on the 1st string. He does that twice. Okay, so lick number 3 comes straight after that, is where he does this. Such a killer phrase. This start of this phrase, he slides from 11 into 13 and then bends 15 up a whole step. That's all on the 1st string. Then he releases that 15. Pulls off to 13, then pulls 16 on the 2nd string off to 13. So that's... And then he goes back and plays 13 on the 1st string, 16 on the 2nd, back to 13, back to 16 on the 2nd. So again that... And then he comes down to this 8th fret position again. I really dig this phrase, the way he sets up the minor third of the F minor chord with the chromatically down into that A flat note is fantastic. So we've got 11, 10, 8 on the first string, then 11 on the second string, back to 8 on the first string, and then the chromatic 11, 10, 8 on the second string. And that lands right on beat 1 of the change into the F minor chord, the 4 chord. And he finishes that off with a little 10th fret bend up a semitone release, back to 8, up to 10 on the third string, over to 8 on the second string, back to 10, back to 8. Lick number 4. Okay, lick number 4, very cool the way that he starts this phrase. He bends the 10 up to 12 on the third string, and then while he's still got that note ringing, he plays the 8 on the first string, and then comes back to the 11 on the second string. He's still got this note bent, releases it, comes back to 8, up to 10, back to 8, up to 10, 8 on the second string, 10, back to 8. And then he goes, and that's just 8 on the second string, over to 8 on the first string, slide into 13 on the second string, 11 on the first string. That was 13, bend up a step, release back to 13, and then some vibrato on the 11th fret. The final lick, lick number 5, is kind of right towards the end of the solo, is this phrase. So that was 13 on the first string, back to 11 on the first string, 13 on the second string twice. And then he does kind of a pre-bend of the 13 up to 15 on the first string, releases it, pulls off to 11 on the first string, then hits the 13 on the second string, comes down. That's a very similar phrase to one we did earlier. That's the 11 on the second string, back to 11 over to 8 on the first string, back to 11, pull off to 8, the 11, the flat and 5th, back to the 8 on the second string. And the really cool thing with this phrase, he just finishes that and goes into this bend of the 11 bent up a whole step. I just like the way he kind of drops that bend right at the end of this. So that he does that bend, which was the 11, bend up a whole step, releases it, and then he's got the final phrase is like a little quick hammer-on pull-off idea, pentatonic blues scale idea, where he's going 8 on the first string, up to 11, pull off to 8, over to 11 on the second string, back to 8 on the first string, back to 11, pull off to 8, over to 11 on the third string, back to 8 on the second string, back to 11 on the third string, back to 8. The whole final little hammer-on pull-off phrase sounds like this.